Chairman, this amendment finishes the good work begun by the gentleman from Utah on the previous amendment. It saves $3.4 billion by eliminating all funding for the Community Development Block Grant Program. This program was created in 1974 with the stated objective of eliminating blight and providing affordable housing. But in the nearly 4 decades since then, it has degenerated into a federal slush fund for pet projects of local politicians and politically connected businesses. It is plagued by profligate waste and outright fraud. This is an unauthorized expenditure. The legal authority for it expired back in 1994, 18 years ago, and Congress has not bothered to renew it ever since. But we keep shoveling money at it year after year. $3.5 billion averages to almost $50 from the earnings of a family of 4, and they have a right to know where their $50 taken from their family budgets is going. Senator Coburn gave some examples in his Back to Black report. Summit County, Ohio spent $100,000 of CDBG funds to create a doggy daycare and kennel last year, and Nyack, New York directed $10,000 of CDBG funds to Amazing Grace Circus Incorporated in 2009 to put on a day at the circus. CDBG funds are being spent creating a hip atmosphere for employees of an LA architectural firm, providing decorative sidewalks in a wealthy Virginia community, and upgrading Victorian cottages in Alabama. Indeed, some communities use these funds to pay off federal loans they've taken out on projects that are now defaulting because they've utterly failed to produce all of the benefits they promised. Now, even in the best of circumstances, these are all projects that exclusively benefit local communities or private interests and ought to be paid for exclusively by those local communities or private interests. They are of such questionable merit that no city council is willing to face its constituents and say, this is how we have spent your local taxes, but they are more than happy to spend somebody else's federal taxes, so we end up robbing St. Petersburg to pay St. Paul for projects so dubious that the purported beneficiaries won't pay for them. And that's all before we discuss the realm of fraud. This program is replete with individuals directing 6-figure sums to their personal bank accounts or political activities. The Office of Management and Budget has repeatedly branded this program as ineffective. That's its official designation for government programs that cannot ascertain how their funds are spent. HUD's own Inspector General found that in a relatively short 2-year time span, over 150 criminal indictments were issued for false claims, bribery, fraudulent contracts, theft, embezzlement, or corruption in connection with this program. This is a slush fund that cries for abolition, and it should be one of the very first places we look to bring spending under control and stop wasting our constituents' money. Once again, though, this unauthorized program is not targeted for elimination by the Appropriations Committee. It is not even targeted for a token reduction in spending. As we just discussed, the Appropriations Committee proposes spending $400 million more than we spent last year. Indeed, $400 million more than even the President requested. Now, let's be very clear on this. The House Appropriations Committee, with a Republican majority that has a clear mandate to stop wasting money, is about to appropriate $400 million more than requested by the most spendthrift administration in our nation's history on a program with no federal nexus, with a sullied history of fraud, and that funds the most unworthy of local projects and special interest handouts. The rules of the House were specifically written to prevent this type of unauthorized expenditure, and they provide for a point of order to be raised if it's included in an appropriations bill. That is exactly what we have here. But alas, that rule is routinely waived when these measures are brought to the floor, making this amendment necessary. Madam Chairwoman, this is another critical test of the Republican majority's intention to stand by the promises it made to the American people in the most dangerous fiscal crisis in our nation's history. I pray that we rise to the occasion, and I yield back.